Hello class. Now I'm going to get into starting to edit the landscape or the grass plane and give it a lot of texture, and I think this is where a drawing can come alive. And there's lots of things you can do. I'd say almost anytime I draw a site plan I experiment with new kinds of textures and new kinds of styles just to have fun, and so I fully encourage you to sort of do the same thing, maybe based off these videos, based off of other videos I have. But here's some ideas just to get you going, and I'll take a few steps because each piece can really be thought of independently. You can mix and match it or add new things as you want. So I'll do some short videos to give you all of this. I have to say the one thing that almost makes all of my site plans though in style is the first thing I'm going to do here, which is making the edges darker, and I'll show you that here in a second how that looks and what I mean by that. So I'm going to unlock the grass layer, and I'm going to do this to everything on the object, so I'm just going to go to select all and make sure everything's selected, and I'm going to do an inner glow to make this work. Actually, I'm not going to do an inner glow to do the first step. The first thing I'm going to do, I could do an inner glow, but I'm going to be smart because I know I'm going to do lots of other things. So what I'm going to actually do first is I'm going to make a new fill by opening up my appearances and hitting the tab. Now by default the fill is exactly the same as the original one, and I'm going to make this one white. Don't worry, we'll get rid of white here in a second. And the reason why I'm going to do it separately, because I could do inner glow on this one. The reason I'm going to do it separately is so that in between these two I can add other textures and I can work on textures independently. I can do a different texture for the edging, I can do a different texture for the center, and so on and so forth. So just trust me on that for now. I'll set it to white, and then I'll go to Effects, Stylize, Inner Glow, and I'm going to set that inner glow color to something similar to this original green but darker, because I like to go darker on my edges. And I just took note of a color from previously doing this, so that's the color I'm going to use, but feel free to experiment on your own. I'm going to set the opacity to 100. I know that's not a default in Illustrator, so you might need to set that to 100, and I think a blur of 0.25 is going to work, and I'll do a preview and we can see this is the result that happens. If I increase this number, we see that the edges get bigger. If I decrease it, it gets smaller. But and your drawing is going to, depending on the scale of your drawing and other things, for this size. But 0.25 is working for me for this drawing, and so I'll say OK. And then what I'm going to do to sort of end this video is I'm just going to hit this area here so I can change the opacity settings of just the white area. And I don't want to change the opacity for this step. I just want to change the blending mode to multiply, which gets rid of the white area. So what I'm left with is the original green that I had in the center and the darker green I have on the edges, and I can control the texture of each independently, which is perfect if you want to add more texture to it. One reason why I like to highlight the edges, partially as we can see it's happening here, is one thing that's interesting is because the grass areas are different sizes, it produces different hues across my drawing, which produces interest. But also you'll notice around my building, since there's lots of edges around a building, and that is typically the case, the darker edge will start to bring this building out. Now I haven't rendered the building, and I will in a few more videos from now, but this darker edge will help this building pop. But still, there's still many other sort of pieces that I'll play with just to show you different ideas on this grass in the next videos.